Next, see, that is why I need to restart making TBRs also. It makes me excited about books, yeah? Why do I need to work? Huh? Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. I am here today with my September 2023 TBR. Don't fall, please. This is going to be a tentative TBR. Just putting these books on that list, on that tentative list, will probably give me some structure, which is why I wanted to make TBRs and reading wrap-ups again. As you've seen in a previous video, it was the most recent coffee talk video, I think episode 23, in which I spoke about why I stopped making reading wrap-ups and TBRs, and I asked you whether I should restart making them again. So I decided after reading your comments that I will make reading wrap-ups as well as TBRs because I need some sort of structure in my life right now, and I feel like if I add these particular set of books to my monthly to-do list, to my monthly TBR, then it'll make it easy for me to know what I have to get through in that particular month. And this is exactly what I intend these TBRs to do. These books that you see on these TBRs will be sort of the books that I need to get to at some point in the near future, but not necessarily immediately. So even if I make a 20-30 book long TBR, that's just to give myself a subset of my TBR from which to choose from, and it's not that I will be reading all of those 20-30 books. I might end up reading only 5, but if I choose from that particular subset, then I'm going to be really happy. Basically right now I'm choosing what I think will work for me. Let's see after a couple of months, and let's review if this setup is working for me or not, and then do accordingly. And as you know, I love making TBRs, and in today's TBR video I'm going to be talking to you about, I think, around 11 books I have right here, but there are also a few other books that I won't be mentioning because there are a couple of videos that I have the concept for, and I want to make those videos, and I'm really excited for them as well. So that's why I don't want to give them away right now. Anyway, I think the introduction has gone on for way too long. Without any further ado, let's dive right into my September 2023 TBR, and let me share with you all the books that I hope to read in September as a tentative TBR. So the first two books are for reading vlogs that I will be doing. The first one, which is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman and illustrated by Elise Hurst. This was a subscriber pick, I think, for April. It was quite some time ago, and I wasn't able to do this because I had to do Babel, and the Babel subscriber pick reading vlog had to go up last week, and I even promised that I would get it up last Wednesday or last Saturday, but that did not happen because my reading went on till Saturday late night, and there is so much footage, I think 5 hours of footage, and I still need to cut it down because that's the length of a feature film and it's not polished anyway. So, but this is a book I cannot wait to show you the illustrations that are in here because they seem so dark, so intense. I don't know what exactly the story is, but I'm really excited to read it because it's Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman's books have always worked for me, with one exception. Okay, I want to say again that this is a book that I'm excited about, but it loses all meaning if you don't end up reading it soon. Yeah, but does that apply to bookworms? Does it? How long is this book? Day. Where is the page number now? 325. And I think this will be a very quick read because illustrations, etc, etc, etc. Yes. And then there is Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang, which I know I've just read Babel, but I don't think I can get enough of Rebecca F. Kuang's writing because she is so brilliant at it. And this is a book about authors and plagiarism and stealing of one's intellectual property, etc, etc, etc. And I've been seeing so much of discourse on social media about this book. I've been seeing a lot of mixed reviews as well. A lot of people have been absolutely loving it. They are looking at it in awe, and then there are some who just don't like it. I don't think I'm going to have a problem, but I'm still a little wary but I'm also still a little excited. I don't know how that works, but this is how it is. And then there are two books that I got from Pan Macmillan Australia last month, this month, August, and I really wanted to read these in at least in the first week of September. And the first one is The Vitals by Tracy Sorensen. This is Tracy Sorensen's memoir about her battle with cancer, I think, but it's not told by Tracy. It's told by her organs, and I feel like this is such a unique way of presenting a story about how cancer affects the insides of a person's body, but you're telling it from that perspective. I've said this thrice 4 times before that I'm excited to read it, but this is really going to be read very, very soon, and you'll see a review of it on my Instagram as well as in a wrap-up here. And the second one is the 20 kilo challenge by Weight Watchers. I haven't been able to crack this open for a bunch of reasons, but I'm going to start it tomorrow because there's a lot of things that I want to do afresh from the 1st of September, and hopefully this will be able to help me in doing those things for health, for a bunch of other reasons, etc, 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 etc. I think there are a lot of non-vegetarian options in here, but there are also a bunch of vegetarian options when I was flipping through when I got the book, and I am really interested and intrigued to see what those recipes will do for me, as well as the other tips and tricks that this book has to improve one's lifestyle. Next are a bunch of library books, and I need to return them somewhere in mid-September, so I thought adding them to my TBR will give me some impetus to actually go ahead and read them. And the first of these books is The Bandit Queens by Parni Shroff, and this is the story of a woman who in rural India, which place? Rural India, and she has murdered her husband, and she doesn't do anything to correct that because of safety, etc. But when someone else approaches her to help her off her abusive drunk of a husband, she agrees, but it also ends up being the foundation for something huger that happens. This is a book that I've seen quite a few people talk about favorably, and I thought that I would bring this home and I would read it on the sly and I would then talk about it also and all of that, but apparently that's not gonna happen. I think I've got to shout about it that I am going to read it. I have been excited about this book for at least a couple of months, ever since I saw it on at least a few places on Instagram. And then another one is this, can I get this? Yes, Mame by Jessica George. This is a book that I got an ALC of from Libro FM, so I thought listening to the audiobook while reading the book would be a good experience because it has almost always worked for me in the past. And this is a book about Mame, I think. Meet Maddie Wright. All her life she's been told who she is. To her Ghanaian parents, she is Mame, the one who takes care of the family. Her mom's stand-in. Her dad's scarer, the one who keeps the peace and the secrets. It's time for her to speak up. When she finally gets the chance to leave home, Maddie is determined to become the woman she wants to be. One who wears a bright yellow suit, stands up to her boss, and dates men who definitely aren't on her mom's list of prospective husbands. Someone who doesn't have to Google all her life choices. But when tragedy strikes, Maddie is forced to face the risks and rewards of putting her heart on the line. I feel like this is going to be such an intense read, especially because Maddie isn't supposed to be doing that from such an early age. She is supposed to be living her childhood, and to see how all of this pans out, to see what happens when she eventually gets her freedom, when she finally gets it, when she finally gets to spread her wings, is going to be a really interesting read. And apparently, according to the authors who have blurbed this, it's heartbreaking and heart healing at the same time. Oh, this makes me want to pick it up immediately, but I have like 2 or 3 current reads, so I can't do that. So this has to wait till September. Next is a book that I should have prioritized at least a few weeks ago, but I haven't been able to do that for various reasons again. And that book is Ace, What Asexuality Reveals About Desire, Society and the Meaning of Sex by Angela Chen. And this is a book that's going to need very slow reading, very concentrated reading. This was one book that I wanted to read in June, but I never got around to reading it for some reason or the other. But you shouldn't just read these books during Pride Month. You should be reading these all year round. And this is one book that I want to savor my time with, but I also need to read it as soon as possible because I feel like I've renewed this too many times and now I don't think I can renew it again from the library. And I don't want to let this go like a couple of other books that I have by now. This is a book that I don't want to let go without reading. So I think this will be the first book that I pick up in September. Next is The House of Doors by Tan Tuan Eng. And this has been shortlisted or longlisted for the International Booker, I think, this year. And I got this almost immediately. And I am so glad that I got it before they could have put this long listed sticker on the front. I have not bought this, I have borrowed this, and I'm really excited to read this, not only because it was long listed, but also because I saw this on another Bookstagrammer's profile and I've been intrigued about it ever since. Her name is also Sonali and her Bookstagram handle is A Lazy Writer, and she has some amazing recommendations. Go check that out. I saw it on her profile and it just touched something inside of me and I was like, okay, I need to read this book. I have her post saved from way before I even requested and borrowed this from the library. So this is historical fiction. It is 1921 and at Cassowary House in the Straits Settlements of Penang, Robert Hamlin is a well-to-do lawyer and his steely wife Leslie a society hostess. Their lives are invigorated when Willie, an old friend of Robert's, comes to stay. Willie Somerset Maugham is one of the greatest writers of his day. But he is beleaguered by an unhappy marriage, ill health, and business interests that have gone badly awry. He is also struggling to write. The more Leslie's friendship with Willie grows, the more clearly she sees him as he is, a man who has no choice but to mask his true self. As Willie prepares to leave and face his demons, Leslie confides secrets of her own, including how she came to know the charismatic Dr. Sun Yat-sen, a revolutionary fighting to overthrow the imperial dynasty of China. And more scandalous still, she reveals her connection to the case of an English woman charged with murder in the Kuala Lumpur courts, a tragedy drawn from fact and worthy of fiction. Oh, public morality and private truth from a century ago. And this sounds intense. Yeah, but every blurb that I read, I want to pick up the book immediately. How am I going to do that? How am I going to... Anywho, next is Page Boy by Elliot Page. This is Elliot Page's memoir and is one of my most anticipated books of 2023 and I still have not read it. I don't even know why. This is not even that long. This is like 260 pages and I know if I start reading it, it's going to be super emotional, but I will be able to get through it pretty fast. And yet, but September is a month where I am going to read this book. That's for sure. I don't think I have anything else that I can say about this book, especially because it's a memoir and all of that. There's a lot of behind the scenes of Hollywood, the realities of Hollywood and how he was treated and his journey of self-discovery. And I'm very excited to read this, but I'm also like, my heart's beating fast as I even anticipate starting this book because I know there is going to be quite a bit of trauma in here. Next is Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk, and this is a book that's been on my TBR for 2-3 years now and I have not been able to read it. A friend and I were planning to buddy read this book at one point but never got around to it. Then I saw this at the library and I was like, okay, now I've got to get this book and I've got to read it because I'm way too intrigued by this book to keep it off for longer. And this is also a short book. This is like not even 250 pages and I don't know who, I don't remember who, but someone was telling me that this is a very quick read, very light but also very deep, and I don't know how that works, but this is something that I really wanted to read. And every time I see this on my shelf, I'll be like, okay, I'll start tomorrow. But talking about this book, it makes me want to read this immediately. And see, that is why I need to restart making TBRs also. That's also a reason why I need to restart making TBRs. It makes me excited about books, yeah. Dusheko, I don't know how it's pronounced, Dusheko is in her 60s, an eccentric school teacher and caretaker of holiday homes who lives in a remote Polish village. Her two beloved dogs disappear, and then members of a local hunting club are found murdered. She decides to get involved in the investigation, but she has her own theories about things because she reads the stars, as well as the poetry of William Blake. Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead is an entertaining thriller. Okay, this is so exciting. Okay, now my eyes are like going off in all directions, thinking that why do I need to work? Why do I need to work? I can just sit and read all day long. No, I don't. That's what this book has brought me to. See, technically the last book on this TBR, because it's the last physical copy, and that is Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. This is another memoir about 240 pages long. I've heard so much about this book that this is heartbreaking and etc etc. I don't know exactly what it's about. I'll read the blurb for you, but I have seen so many people gush about this book, and I'm like, okay, should I read this because they're gushing about it, or what? And then I went and read the blurb, and then I was like, no, yep, I've got to read this. Anyway, the blurb. In this exquisite story of family, food, grief, and endurance, Zona writes with humor and heart of struggling with her mother's high expectations, a painful adolescence, and treasured months spent in her grandmother's tiny apartment in Seoul, where she and her mother would bond late at night over heaping plates of food. As she grew up, her Koreanness began to feel ever more distant, even as she found the life she wanted to live. It was her mother's diagnosis of terminal pancreatic cancer when Zona was 25 that forced a reckoning with her identity and brought her to reclaim the gifts of taste, language, and history her mother had given her. Vivacious and plain-spoken, lyrical and honest, Michelle Zauner's voice is as radiantly alive on the page as it is on stage. Michelle Zauner is best known as a singer and guitarist who creates dreamy, shoegaze-inspired indie pop under the name Japanese Breakfast. And then there are a few other books that I was talking about that are for secret projects. I won't be mentioning them here either, but I just wanted to tell you that one of them is for a video that will come in mid-September tentatively, and a bunch of those other books will be for a video that I'm hoping to put up at the end of September, or if that does not happen, then sometime in October. But I'm so excited for that second video, I can't even begin to tell you. I don't know how it will come out, but I am like, I have ideas in my head and they are like bouncing all over the place, and it somehow makes me happy. So those, can you see? Yes. Those and the few other books that I was talking about, hey wait, don't fall, are the books that I want to read in September 2023. It's a tentative TBR. I don't think I'll be able to read all of them, but I'm really excited for all of them. What did you think of this video? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What do you think of my TBR? Have you read any of the books on this list, on this TBR? What books are you planning to read in September 2023? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.